To have passion in life is everything.
What's your Everest?
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
that 200-inch buck?
They just look so impressive when they're wide.
Especially running away.
Welcome to this week's episode of Eastmans Elevated.
It's like a think tank for outdoor activity.
Sounds exactly like my hunting. Just always thinking about it, always trying to evolve it and make it better.
Here's your host, Barney.
Hey, what's happening, guys? Got a brand new Eastmans Elevated for you. So I thought I'd sit down, record a New Year's special here, so solo podcast, and we'll get right into it. I just want to thank a couple of my sponsors. I want to thank Forever Barnwood. Forever Barnwood is a new sponsor to Eastman's Elevated, and they're actually new to Barney Construction as well. I'm going to use these guys a bunch. So it's a small business that started up that makes new wood look like old. So they run it through the mill, and they get a circle sawn look to it, or the other side of the board has a raised grain look like an old barn. They have this treatment process that impregnates in the wood that turns it these beautiful brown colors. And this is a real high-end look, especially for these western homes like where I'm at in Montana. It's just a one-of-a-kind look. Now, I'm going to use these on my personal house. They have a bunch of different products. So they've got shiplap, they've got tongue and groove, they've got box beams that are all milled with these beautiful corners. In fact, I'm going to use it on a project that I'm going to be finishing out this spring. It just looks amazing. They have the wood floors, which are an absolute one-of-a-kind. Just a bunch of different products there that are made to look like barn board. They'll mill nominal lumber. They even have custom doors for the interior of a house. Like I say, I think I'm going to use a bunch of these products on my new house that's coming up, and the houses for my clients that I'm working on. In fact, I've already sent out some sample pieces to one of my clients now, sent them to the website. So their website is Forever Barnwood. Just a great company. We're really happy to have their support here on Eastman's Elevated. They have a bunch of dealers across the country, but they're now selling direct. So they've got their own shipment in place. You can order from them direct, get better pricing, and they'll ship it straight to you. So Forever Barnwood, new reclaims old. I also want to thank Cutter Stabilizers. I really appreciate the support from Cutter and from Earl Stroll. They're a small business. Earl came up with the design and has developed these stabilizers for the last few years. He's also evolved the connections on them to make sure they're absolutely bomb-proof. And if you want to take your shooting to the next level, there's nothing like adding a bigger bar on front or adding a sidebar to your hunting bow. They just hold so dang good on target. So I'm shooting a 15 out front. I'm shooting a 12 in the back. I'm shooting 6 ounces out front, and I'm shooting 10 ounces in the back for an added weight of right around a pound or so. You can add or deduct weights from the front or the back 1 ounce at a time. He also sells those weights. And it just really helps to not only the hold, but it helps the reaction of the bow. So if you're getting low hits, you can add more weight to the back or take some weight away from the front and get away from those low misses. Same thing with high misses, and really find the balance point of your bow. They're absolutely awesome products. They're made of carbon fiber, so they're really lightweight. They're a small diameter, so they cut the wind really well. They're just an awesome design, and I believe the best stabilizers on the market right now. So if you're in the market for some new stabilizers, make sure to check out Cutter. And with that, out there at Eastman's, we've got the magazines. I've got an article coming up in the Eastman's Bow Hunting Journal, continuing to write for that. I just really enjoy the magazines, and I'm proud to be part in them. We have a promo code for the magazines. Type in Elevated 321. That'll get you both magazines and an outdoor edge knife for $50. Also, make sure to check out our Tag Hub. It's our internet resource tool. I have a promo code on that as well to save, I believe, 20%. Just type in Brian on there, and you'll get that discount. And be part of Tag Hub, which is a internet resource that compiles all this data in all the western states and tags available to help you learn what the best opportunities are for the species you want to hunt, and also season dates or weapon you want to use. So great resource for hunters out there. I'm using it all the time, and they keep evolving it and improving it. And I'm impressed at what a great tool it is for us western hunters. Also, make sure to check out Eastman's Jesus, I just lost my place. I'm not starting over though. Just lost. Check us out on the Outdoor Channel on Eastmans Hunting TV. You can set your DVR to that. Some great new episodes coming out for the new year. Also, check us out on Eastman's Beyond the Grid, which is our internet TV show you can find on YouTube there. We'll have some great new episodes coming out, including a bunch of my episodes that'll be hitting here soon. I haven't seen anything lately. I haven't seen the final edits on them. I did see a final edit on a Nevada high country hunt that turned out really well, that I'm really proud of, and excited to see that released to you guys. So I'll let you know as soon as they release. Also, a bunch on there with Dan Bakar, who's just a diehard bow hunter, which I need to get back on the podcast. He does great on here. But a bunch with Dan Bakar. I really enjoy his stuff. And then you can also catch the Eastmans on there as well. And with that, let's get into this podcast. New Year's podcast. So, gosh, it wouldn't be an Eastman's Elevated solo unless, I'm talking about self-improvement and talking about the new year. And, well, I have New Year's resolutions. They're not much of resolutions. It's more of the same. It's just being better at it, improving on what I've already built. And there's some mental stuff too, and some improvements I need to make to myself. Like I think life is like this evolution where you just continue to learn, continue to be better at it, and continue to improve your skills. And so, like a couple things, like on a real personal issue, like a couple things that I need to do here in the new year, be better at. So one is delivering bad news. I've got this aversion to conflict. Like I just like to try to make everybody happy and try to impress everybody. I don't know what that is exactly, but I almost avoid conflict, and I've got better over the years at just giving, like, to use an example would be like homeowners, but this also goes for buddies and acquaintances, and it goes for a lot in my life. It goes with my family as well. And everybody's happier if you're just upfront and honest, And so, like, I need to be better at tackling conflict and just diving into it, not procrastinating it, and having these tough conversations and giving people tough news. It's just way better to deliver it up front and to deal with it than to put it off and me be stressing over it for days or weeks until I deliver this bad news. And so, it started, this morning. I had 3 messages that I had to send out that, I was kind of dreading, and, I procrastinated those too much as well. And so I need to be better at diving into those. One was a client where I couldn't take on their job, even though, I've worked for their family before, really wanted to try to fit them in, but there's just no way. I've just taken on too much work, and I can't be at my best on their job. And so, it's either I take the job and disappoint them while I'm working on it, or I tell them now that I just, if we want to do this job at a different time, I'll be able to put my full effort into it and know that I can do you a good job. But trying to fit it in with the 2 houses I got to finish and a couple more I got to start, and looking at doing another house, like I just don't have the time to put the effort into their project, and their project is going to suffer from it. And so, like, I had to deliver that bad news. Another one, trying to plan a hunt and plan it, and it had talked, the last couple weeks about maybe trying to put this hunt together, and I just have too much going as far as my hunting schedule, and had some things come through, so I had to deliver that bad news. So just a couple little quirks with my personality that I need to work on here in the next coming year that I'm aware of, and I need to improve. So I need to be better at delivering bad news. Like another one that I need to do, and I don't know, it kind of ties to self-confidence, or it ties to celebrating my successes. Man, I have no problem putting in the work to climb the top of the mountain, putting in the work to arrowing this great buck, but I don't always celebrate my successes. Like, I'm really tough on myself, and I need to celebrate these successes, and not like hooray for me, or like not a big ego trip or something like that, but it seems like I've been on so many of these big adventures that I push myself to my limits on a lot of these. And so, like I try to compare myself to those, and they, sometimes my effort doesn't stand up to a previous hunt, or like, I guess I haven't thought my way through all these thoughts that I'm going to put out on the podcast, but I know it's something that I need to improve. I know I can put in the work to climb to the top of the mountain, but I don't always feel like I deserve to be to the top of the mountain, if that makes sense. I don't always look at myself in the best light, even though I put forth all this effort and try to be the absolute best human I can be. And so, like, I need to celebrate that, and I need to continue to put in the work. Like, I enjoy the process and I enjoy working hard, but I also, I've got to be comfortable, in my own skin, and comfortable and confident, in my business and in the hunting world, the outdoor industry. Like, I have a lot to offer, and I need to be proud at what I've accomplished and what I've done, and stand tall. And, that goes for negotiations. That goes, there's a lot of different things this plays into. And not that I'm a total lack of confidence or just crumbles of a man or anything, but, a lot of times I'm just way too tough on myself, and I need to relax, enjoy life, and be happy for where I'm at and what I've achieved and what I've done, and embrace it with a smile. And so anyways, just a couple like super personal items that I'm starting off the podcast with that I need to improve in the next coming year. So we can all look at ourselves and make improvements. It's a fine line, You can't be an egotistical maniac and be so overconfident or so brazen or so like to where you don't look at reality, And the other end of it is being underconfident in your skills or the things that you can do. And I have a lot of confidence in my construction abilities and my abilities to be able to contract. I've got a lot of confidence in being a good family man, good father, even though, you doubt things at times or should make better moves. And that's part of my New Year's too, is just more with my family, more engaged, chipping in more around the house. There's always those things you can do. And I've also got a lot of confidence in my hunting abilities. I know that I can research these units and take on these challenges and these new hunts that are extremely difficult with a bow and arrow, and I know I can come out on top. But it's just it's a fine line, and I just want to walk that line a little bit better, if that makes sense. So yeah, a couple of my New Year's resolutions, and then on to the hunting stuff. Like, hunting is such a big portion of my life. Like, I just love it with every fiber of my being. I absolutely love it. It's so challenging and so difficult. It requires complete discipline and dedication. Like, this is the stuff that I'm into. And I'm just fortunate in life that I found my passion. I've found this thing that keeps me happy, that soothes my soul, that has me wanting more and more adventure. And I do have so much confidence in my wood sense, and being able to go to the mountains and challenge myself on adverse conditions and gnarly terrain and extreme weather. And I know that I can keep myself safe and return to hunt another day. And so I just want to continue to push my limits. I mean, in this new year, I want to break my governor. I want to push really hard on all these hunts, and I want to enjoy them. It's another thing that I've been working on, the last handful of years, or my entire life really, is to enjoy my time that I do get. It's taking care of my responsibilities. But once I'm in the woods and once I'm in hunting, problems that arise or that come up, I can either handle them there in real time, or I can handle them when I get back. But the one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to worry about them or stress about them. I'm going to make my decision. I'm going to go with it, and then really enjoy the time that I get. I mean, you look at a year, 365 days a year, and I get to hunt quite a few days out of those. But if I'm not enjoying my time out hunting, then what's the point? I should be working, And so, like, I've got to wrap my head around that and not feel guilty for the time I get. Like, we get one chance at this life, and I'm going to try to do the best job to live as much of it as I can. And so when I do go on these big adventures or these big hunts, I'm going to make sure that everything's taken care of, but I'm also my priority is to make sure that I enjoy it, that I do get the benefits out of hunting that I strive for, that soothing the soul, that filling my cup, that adventure, that having fun. And if I've got anxiety or things I'm worried about, that I'm not enjoying it to the fullest. And sure, there's always going to be things come up. There's always going to be issues and problems, but if I have the time and I'm out there hunting, I'm going to be hunting and focus solely on that 100%. So, just some things I'm working on and all these things that I've mentioned, it's not something that I can solve in one day, 1 week, or even 1 month. Like, I've been working on this stuff for years, and I'm a lot further down the road now than I was even a handful of years ago. But I just want to continue to work on it and continue to improve it and make it better. So I want to work hard to be present on these hunts and really embrace the challenge. And as far as like skill sets and what I want to accomplish, I really don't have, I'd love to arrow a big buck. I'd love to arrow a big bull. But really, I just, I want to enjoy my time out there and go embrace the adventure. Like, I just want to have the adventures of a lifetime out there. And wherever that lands me, like when I see a buck I'm happy with, like I kind of know, if he's a heavy older buck and something that I'm completely psyched with, like I'm going to go try to arrow him. And, maybe if it's a hunt where there is an opportunity at a great big giant buck, well, I've killed a lot of bucks. I can hold out or I can eat a tag to go for one of these bucks, next level bucks, or set my sights a little bit higher. I can eat a tag. It's not a problem. Like, I've proven I can arrow critters on these hunts and I can accomplish my goals. Like, I don't need to just shoot a buck to shoot a buck. Like, it has to be one that I'm psyched with and one that I'm happy with. And, one that matches, my ideas for the hunt or my goals for the hunt. So, no real sight set on a 200-inch deer or 400-inch bull or anything. I'm just gonna hunt my ass off and see where that lands me and have some great adventures. Like, I'm really gonna push hard to try to push my limits and go hard. And so, like that brings us, like, I'm always mentioning all these facets that goes into being a complete bow hunter. And all these facets, like you have to dive into and commit to all these different facets and all these different skill sets to be a complete bow hunter. And so, like, I always mention them, but I want to talk about them again because these are the pillars of success. And if you build a strong foundation and you build these pillars and you continue to grow all these skill sets, you will be a successful bow hunter. First and foremost, mental toughness. This is one, I attribute a lot of my success to mental toughness and my mental edge. This is something that you can't just want and get. Well, you can just want it, but you have to work for it. You have to build it. And you build it through discipline, through dedication. And like for me, I've had all these tough hunts where, I've been counted out or I've missed a buck and I pick myself back up and I get after it and I end up arrowing a good buck. Or, I face these challenges and these trials and tribulations head on and able to tackle them and come out on top. So that gives me confidence. A lot of my, a lot of it comes from my training, and I'll get into physical fitness, but physical fitness also sharpens your mental edge. And so, like, to have this mental edge, this never die, this never quit attitude is so imperative to being successful. You're always pushing over the next mountain. And, it may seem on a hunt like I'm not having fun all the time because I'm pushing so hard, but that push is what I love. I love, like, pushing myself physically and mentally. And the deal is we have so much more to give mentally than we give, and I've learned that on marathons, on ultra marathons. I had I've quit. We quit on ourselves, and you can have your ego hide it from you, but when you really look at things in reality, we quit. Like the reason we don't accomplish our goals on a hunt, and sure, there can be a bunch of outside elements that come into factor there, but ultimately it's because we quit. And there is like a time when you do have to quit and you do have to go home, and there is a line of safety that you have to live to hunt another day, and you have to make good decisions. But there too, we have so much more to give, and me included. I'm one of the toughest. I have one of the toughest minds, and mentally, like, I think I attribute a lot of my success to that, but I still have more to grow. There's no ceiling there. I can continue to harness that and grow that. And so I just want to push and find another level, find another gear. And so, I get a lot of that out of my trail running, out of my training. I want to do more CrossFit. And as I get into physical fitness, I'll talk about that more, just more upper body, just more commitment. But these runs, they really do a lot for me for pushing my mental toughness and, just the discipline of getting myself out there day in, day out. And if I'm being totally honest, like, I've had some good runs, but the last couple days have been shit runs. It's like, they're not all peachy. Like, there's snow on the ground. I'm running through a foot of snow. I'm running through cold. I'm running through wind. And just some days I have it and some days I don't. But I continue to get myself out there. I continue to put one foot in front of the other. I continue to get my runs in. And, it ebbs and flows, and I'll find my motivation. I did a great one a handful of days ago. I had Dan Staten on, and I left the podcast feeling like I could run through a brick wall, and got a great run in, and it felt good during the run. Like, I don't feel good all the time, but I make myself do it. And through that discipline, when it comes to hunting season, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to accomplish my goals and go arrow that animal. So it's like a constant effort. So I just want to push that mental edge, and some of the ways I'm going to push that are in long runs in my training. I'm going to push it definitely in my hunting and in my plans and big backpack trips, really pushing my limit of what my mind thinks I can do and going further. Like, I can walk and walk and walk. I'm in mountain shape. I've structured my whole life around mountain shape. Like, I can go and go and go. What's going to give out is going to be my mind, not my body. So I just want to harness that and continue to grow and evolve that mental toughness. And so I'm going to do it through my discipline of running and working out and making sure that I dedicate to that each and every day to my physical fitness. I'm going to do it on long runs, or really pushing my capabilities, doing those 20-plus mile runs in the mountains with tons of elevation. I'm also going to peak grab here. I'm going to start grabbing some peaks just because it's like an all-day exertion. It's like 6, 8, 10 hours of leaving the trailhead, whether I'm jogging or whether I'm hiking up to the top, whatever it is. Just push to grab some of those peaks, because in the mountains, it seems like it's not really the distance that gets me or gets you or gets anybody out there. It's the elevation. And so just want to continue to run elevation, single track trails, and my body feels great. Like, I just want to continue to push that mental edge. That's how I'm going to do it. From there, on the mental side of things and working on that, like, another pillar is the physical fitness. And so just working hard in this new year each and every day. And I'm really good about getting my runs in. This has always been a huge part of my workout. But I also need to make sure that I'm carrying the rest of my body with that. And so, like, I've done good at doing upper body fitness, but I can just step it up. I can just make sure that day in, day out, I'm doing stuff for my upper body. And so a lot of it's just easy body weight exercise, just push-ups every single day, my pull-ups every single day, doing a lot of these core exercises, doing my kettlebell workout, just making sure that there's consistency there. I laxed off during hunting season. I wasn't doing as much upper body stuff. And so, it's taken me a while to get back in the routine of things, to build my back up strong enough. And it's wild when you're lifting and you're doing these exercises with upper body. It's a fine line, like, at least with my construction haggard body, and like, I think everybody else out there is the same. Like, I'm 41 now, and I've had injuries to my back, and like, and so, like, when I don't lift with my back and lose that consistency and I get back to it, it's really easy to overdo it and to pull a muscle or to get a tweak in my back. And then once that tweak's in my back, then that's not the time to strengthen my back. And so, like I've got to build it up gradually is the way to build your back up stronger, your core up stronger, whatever it is just this gradual improvement where you're pushing your back, you're getting a workout, you're building muscle, but you're not overdoing it to where you tweak your back to where then you're hurt for 2 weeks and you can't make those gains. And then continually just stacking a little bit more on, little bit more on, little bit more on. And my body will adapt to the stress at which I put on it, but it's not one day stress, it's like multiple days. And so done really good, like couple tweaks in my back that are just absolutely minor. And the better shape you're in and the better fitness you're in, like the less severe like these injuries are going to be. And then it's just a little tweak, and like on the scale of 1 to 10, it's like a 2. It's not like an 8 where I'm laid up in bed or I can't move or I can't go to work. It's just a tweak that's a little bit annoying that I've got to deal with for a week or so. But a couple little minor setbacks, but other than that, I've been able to really build my strength gradually. So really working to do more of that without taking away from my runs. So it's just fitting it in, day out. And then like doing these little things. Like I'm a bit I've read this book, Breathe, and I've followed who's that guy that climbed Everest with no shoes on? God, what's his name? He's a bit hippy dippy, but his breathing techniques, like they work. I'm working on my breath hold and working on my breathing and trying to do that day in, day out. Hey, it's like, man, any little edge that I can get that's gonna make me better, I'm doing it. And I've noticed that breath work over the last handful of years has really helped me with high altitude hunting. It's really helped me with high exertion. I can see the improvements in my breath hold, to be able to hold my breath for 3 minutes, or, it's like, that's crazy. Like I could, it was maybe 30 seconds before that. So just lung capacity and breathing. And so I'm working on breath work, working on my hot weather training, which is my steamer, which I absolutely love. And I can push my mental edge in there. Again, this is another way to push my mental edge that isn't exercise, but I can in that steam room for sitting in that heat and enduring, and thinking about my goals and where I want to be and what I want to do and what I want to achieve and sit in there. So that really helps. Cold water immersion. This is something I've added in the last couple of years. I hate cold water. I'm such a weenie when it comes to cold water that a lot of times I don't even want to swim because I don't want to get in the cold water, but that's changing. That's another thing, if I'm being completely honest with myself, that I can take my mental edge to another level. So I don't have a cold water tub or an ice tub yet. I would like to get one, so it's cold enough in Montana where I can just stand out in my underwear outside and get pretty cold, and just enduring this cold weather, and then also cold showers. I hate them. I hate getting in the cold water. The minute I get in there, I almost like hyperventilate, or it's tough to get my breathing. So I practice this breathing routine, 4 seconds of breathing out, hold for 4 seconds, breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for, like, I do this breathing exercise while standing in the cold. And again, just pushing my mental edge. And there's so many benefits to this cold immersion and cold training. So just like another edge. And for me, like, I'm not, I'm not looking for this huge 50% gain. Like even 1% here or 1% there, it's gonna make a difference on my hunts. And so I'm just looking for these small advantages to make me better. Oh, and I heard this stat the other day. So if you could make 1% improvement every day, now 1% isn't exactly feasible, especially once you start to get to a high level. I've been running for so many years. It's hard to improve on yourself 1%. But think about this. If you could improve these facets by 1%, these pillars, these physical fitness, this mental edge, this, and I'm going to get into stalking skill and instincts, and then into shooting abilities. So let's just say you could improve 1% per day that you put in the work. If you were to do that for a year, you would be 37 times better than you are right now. Like that's crazy, right? And I know you can't make a 1% gain, but even if you were to make a 0.5% gain or a 0.25% gain per day, you're going to be so much of a better version than you are right now standing here today. So like that's what I'm trying to do is not just go through the motions of my exercise, but really make improvements and make gains. So it sounds a bit crazy, but I'm just looking for these advantages. Like I love this backcountry hunting with every fiber of my being, and there's no ceiling or limit to how good you can get. I'm just doing everything possible. Like when you're in the hunt, you do anything to get a chance at a buck or a chance at a bull. You get anything to make that perfect shot. And so I'm just trying to do that anything right now in the off season and improve my skill set. So when I come into hunting season, I'm a better version, a better hunter, better person than I am right now. So like those are those small gains that I'm trying to make and making them through different avenues like breath work. And the other one too that goes along with physical fitness is stretching. Us males, god dang it, we just do not have flexibility. And I stretch all the time. It is really tough to improve my flexibility. Now, I've done a couple yoga classes with the wife. That isn't quite me either. Like, I don't mind. It is quality time that I can spend with her. And so if I can do an online class or something like that helps me, great. But just stretching day in, day out, after these runs, after these lifts, keeping this flexibility. Like, flexibility is strength. Like, it's a major portion of your strength. It does no good if you're super strong, but you can't twist or you don't have that flexibility. Flexibility is huge. And so it's a big part of what I'm working on as well, is just day in, day out stretching. And I do that, like I'll do it like as we're watching TV in the evening. Like me and my wife will sit down, and me, my wife, and my kids will sit down for an hour or two a night. We'll watch TV together, hang out. It's kind of our quality time. We also do dinner together, and it's just nice that we can hang out together. But during that, I don't have to sit on the couch. Like I can sit on the floor and I can stretch. And I can be working towards my goals as I'm relaxing, And so that's another part of physical fitness that I'm working on as well. Archery. Man, archery, like your skill set, such a major component to success. Every successful hunt will come down to making a shot. It's not a perfect world out there, but I'm going to do my best to improve my skills. And for me, it's just time, just committing that time day in, day out to my bow and to archery. Got a really solid foundation here. I can shoot a bow really well. I know the ins and outs of a bow, the tuning process. It's just spending the time and going through this, like really messing and tweaking with my bow to find the right tune, the absolute right arrows for it, getting this thing absolutely dialed in, and then working on my execution, never cheating a shot. I love to pull through my shot. And a lot of that is just getting a hold of myself on these shots on animals, this execution on animals. And so preparing for that year round, every time I shoot, like I'm thinking of shooting at that animal and how I'm going to get control of myself and I'm going to execute a good shot. All the little things, practicing from my knees, practicing angles, high pressure shots, shooting around people, shooting these 3D courses really helps my game. Just doing all these little things. To me, I don't need to shoot 100 arrows a day, but I do need to shoot enough arrows where I'm working again on that improvement and not just maintaining. Like, there's some days throughout the years where I just go out and I shoot 6 arrows, dozen arrows, and like just kind of maintaining. I'm not really pushing myself to get better, and so I want to work on that this year. And really, when I have the time to be shooting, I need to be shooting and working on my game and improving it, working on this bow. This new V3X is amazing, working on some new arrow setups that I'm going to be using for this thing. And so, just working on my archery, working on my game, and then shooting at animals. Like, there's like experience is a great teacher. Like being able to hunt and execute shots on trophy animals is huge. Being able to get a hold of myself. And so, just doing more of the same, more visualizations, more practice, shooting around people, high stress situations, just becoming the best archer I can, like diving deep down the rabbit hole of my bow. Any improvements I can make, if there's money I need to spend to upgrade something, upgrade it, like whatever it is, just making those moves day in, day out to be committed to archery, committed to my bow and arrow, because I know ultimately these hunts will come down to making a shot. And once season's here and I'm going so hard, there's no time to improve my archery or my shooting or my game. Like, the time to improve it is right now. And so shooting indoor helps my game. Like, there's a lot of things that help my game that just need to continue to work on. Need to get a 3D target again, like I usually have one every season that I'm shooting at, and these 3D courses really help out. It's so nice to have like a deer target in your yard with no orange dot on it, just being able to pick a spot, execute that arrow in there, and just want to do all these little things throughout the year to be the absolute best archer I can. So when it comes down to making a shot, that I can make it. And so yeah, really going to dedicate myself to archery, the craft, and I love it. Like I love, like, all this stuff is embracing the process, and I get to bow hunt so much. I'm so fortunate. But that also leaves less time to train and improve my skill sets. And so I need to make sure that when I don't have a hunt going on, or I do have free time throughout now and the winter months until I get to bear season, and in the summer months, like, I need to be working hard to improve myself. So when I get there to the hunt, I'm a better version of myself than I am right now. I can be better than I was last season. I can be better than I was the season before. There's no ceiling. There's no limit to where I can go. And it's nice. Like, I talked a bit about this on the Dan Staton podcast. It's coming up, but it's like peak performance when you're a basketball player or you're a football player is, usually in your early 30s or whatever. But there's no limit. As a bow hunter, we can just keep improving and keep getting better. And I'm a better version of myself now than I was a year ago, or that I was 5 years ago. And to me now, I just don't see any limit to where I can go and what I can do. And I think peak performance definitely can come later as a bow hunter. And this is something we can do, well into, I can keep adventuring well into my 60s and even later. Like, it's amazing. Every generation gets healthier and healthier. But at least for me, there's just no signs of slowing down. The being immersed in this and having something I love means that I think about it all the time, and I put so much effort. I mean, it really helps to keep me happy, and like, it's what I love to do, and I just don't see any signs of slowing down. And I know this next season I'm going to be a better version than I was before, and I'm just going to keep making these improvements. Been through physical fitness, been through archery, what I'm going to do there. Talked about the mental side of things, and then there's these hunting skill sets. Man, it's so important, like, to be able to further your knowledge of hunting, to evolve these instincts and these skills that come along with being in the woods and hunting. And really, experience is the best teacher. Like, there's a bunch of shortcuts you can take, and there's so much information out there that you can read and take in this information, but then you have to put it into practice in the field. And so, this ties to a lot of the other skill sets, but it's like, being able to get to the woods and dissect those mountains and figure out where those animals are living through great glassing points and hiking good ridge lines and good effort, good glassing, and then like making good plans for stalking and then practicing the stalk of getting in close. And so there's like all these things. This hunting skill set is huge, and I've noticed, like, over the years, like, there's a lot of guys in great shape. There's a lot of guys that can shoot a bow. But if you lack in hunting skills, like, you won't create the opportunities that are necessary to fill these tags. And I think in a lot of ways, this is what separates me from other guys, is that, I've dedicated my life to this bow hunting, and I don't rifle hunt. So all I do is bow hunt, and I spend an immense amount of time doing it throughout the season. Throughout the year, I started last year with New Mexico bow hunt for mule deer multiple days. And then I went into bear season for, a month or more hunting bears. I went to Hawaii and hunted axis deer and hunted multiple bucks there. Came back, and then I hunted the early season. I hunted two different states. I hunted two different states for early season mule deer, and then I hunted antelope in my home state. Then I hunted elk in my home state. Then mule deer in my home state. Then mule deer in another state to wrap up the late season. So I get all this experience, and I really think this is what separates me. Is I've built these hunting skill sets. And this goes for e-scouting. This goes for scouting boots on the ground. Like, the more time you can spend in the woods, the more time you can spend hunting, the more time you can spend bow hunting and stalking, like, the better you get at these. And you take things, like, I get things from podcasts and from my guests. I get things, I read so many books when I was young about hunting and stalking, and it plants the seed inside your head of what the black and white moves are that you have to make. But then it's putting those thoughts and ideas and theories into play in the real world, in the hunting world, and learning from that. And really, like, the person that can soak up the most knowledge from these hunts is going to be the best hunter out there. The hunter that's cerebral, that really thinks about these things and thinks about the ins and outs, the ones that listening to the podcast, improving their skills, thinking how they can implement into their own game, are the guys that are going to improve. And this hunting skill set is such a major pillar to success, and it's something that we all need to harness and work on. And so, for me, it's just hunting a lot. It's being out there, and then it's learning from it. It's not making the same mistakes over again. It's trusting my intuition and my instincts on the moves that I need to make. And, I've also challenged this through hunting, a bunch of different species in a bunch of different habitats, and every one you have to solve the puzzle. You've got to figure out where the concentrations of game animals are, because they're not spread throughout country. They're in pockets. And so you got to find and figure out the pockets. You got to unlock the secrets to the unit you're hunting or the habitat you're hunting to be able to consistently turn up animals, to get opportunities and to get chances at them. And so for me, it's just fitting in a bunch of these Western hunts and Western adventures and different species and different habitats, and really challenging that. It's also thinking in the off season, my visualizations, and it's also my e-scouting. Like, the more time I spend on Google Earth, the more time I spend on Onyx, the more time I spend researching units, finding quality units that fit my preferences for what I want to hunt, is just going to equal more opportunities come hunting season, a better chance at success, a better chance at these bigger next level animals. And so for me, it's just spending that time doing that. And, like, if I was less experienced, and I mean, who's to say, I could probably benefit from a lot of this as well, but even, like, getting out and just stalking animals, like, just figuring out, what I can get away with and what I can't. So, if there's white-tailed does, if there's mule deer does in your area, like, maybe you're taking a hike and you're getting your exercise to hike up a mountain and you run into some mule deer. Why not take a break and try stalking them and see how close you can get? I remember when I was a kid, I read, what is it? I think it's like Tom Brown, or I may be remembering it wrong, but I read these books by Tom Brown that had all this survival stuff in it. And I remember he was talking about, like, I don't know how good my memory, this is like a 20-year memory, but I remember him talking about touching all the North American game animals and how tough it was to touch a fox, to sneak in close enough to touch a fox, to touch a deer, to touch an elk. And it's pretty wild. Like, I don't know, as good as my stalking skills are, I've been pretty close to animals for sure. I don't know that I've touched any live animals that I can remember. But it was pretty wild, like, to hear about that, the stalking skills. And again, there's just no ceiling. There's no limit to how good we can get and the moves we can make. And year after year, I keep improving my skills. And to me, like, I'm aggressive to try to make plays. You probably heard that on the Sam Davis podcast. Gosh, I don't think I've released that one yet. It is an awesome podcast. You guys are going to love it. I'll release it here in the next couple weeks. Predators Never Quit. Sam is just a great bow hunter, and we get into a lot of this, but I keep developing these patience on animals, knowing what I can get away with and what I can't. And I just keep getting better and better. And so I hunt aggressively. I make plays when I think I can harvest that animal, but I don't stalk reckless. I know what I can get away with and what I can't. And then I'm just getting better at these nuances, these little movements, knowing when to move and when not to move, keeping my element of surprise, just really working the ungulation and the terrain to the best of my abilities. And there's so much there. And so I think like for the average guy, it's hunting, but it's also like if you're out doing runs or doing hikes and you run into animals, like taking a stalk and really taking it serious. Like you can't just haphazardly try to stalk in and I busted them at 30-40 yards, but not really trying. Like really trying, really keeping low, really reading that animal's mannerisms, really seeing how close you can get undetected. And these stalks, they take a long time to be patient and to do it correctly, but the more stalks you get under the belt, the better you're going to get at this stalking instinct. The more time you can spend in the mountains, whether that's scouting trips in the summertime, whether that's hunts, just the better you're going to get at locating animals, traversing through country, like all these little skill sets that play into instincts. So like I think it's so important to hunting. Also this e-scouting, this spending this time, this learning these units, like spending that time pays dividends come season. So continually doing that and putting the time and effort into what we love to do, and we're only going to get better at. So I really think like practicing these stalking skills. And the other thing I think is, is figuring out high opportunity hunts. Doing these hunts, these antelope hunts where you get a bunch of stalks and you get to challenge yourself and to try to arrow an antelope, it's a real challenge. Like when I first started, it took me 3 years to kill my first antelope with my bow, just to learn those necessary skills to be able to get in close enough to execute a good shot. And, now I've had a bunch of success on antelope, and I really attribute a lot of my elk and deer success to antelope hunting. So, looking in this off season for an antelope hunting opportunity. I know here in my home state, they'll give me 5 white-tailed doe tags, and there's public land around where I can go hunt white-tailed does with my bow. Now, this really helped develop my skills when I was younger. If there was a year I didn't kill an elk or a year where I just had extra time, I would go hunt these does because I can get 5 over the counter. The other thing that really helped develop my skills is the prison ranch, which I don't hunt anymore, but I would definitely go back to. I had an absolute riot there hunting there with buddies. They used to allow us to kill 5 deer, and it could be a mule deer buck, a whitetail buck, whitetail doe, or a mule deer doe. So pretty much any deer you saw, you could hunt. And the prison ranch is one of the biggest agriculture ranches in Montana, and they have to control the deer numbers in there. So you got to go through a background check, and you got to check in with the control station, and then you got to choose the spot where you're hunting. It's high pressure hunting. There was a lot of guys that were there, but what it did is it gave me a ton of opportunity. I could go there and hunt deer, and they had really long seasons. Like I think it was open till either the 1st of January or maybe even the end of January. And so I could continue to go out there and I could get stalks on deer, and it's fairly open terrain, and learn what I could get away with and what I couldn't, instead of trying to build these skills on an elk hunt where you may only get a handful of stalks if you're lucky in a season, or you might only get one. So you spend all this time to get one stalk on an elk. You're not really learning much. I mean, you're learning how to hunt elk, and you're getting better at hunting elk, and you are getting stalks on elk. So you are improving your skill sets, but compare that to an antelope hunt where you may get 3 to 5 stalks a day every single day until you kill one. You may get 20, 30 stalks in a season. That's going to be huge for improving your skill set, your stalking skill set, your instincts. And so for me, it's like high opportunity hunts, like planning these doe hunts, or like that prison ranch, or like antelope hunts, or like for me, a huge part is Hawaii. And I've got my good buddies in Hawaii that'll have me out there and have me hunting. But I feel like I get an entire hunting season of experience in just one 5-day trip to Hawaii. Like there is so much action there, and chase so many axis deer, and the axis are so smart and so switched on and so tough to arrow that it really forces me to get better at my stalking skills. And so like these are all the things that really help my hunting instincts, and I think have separated me throughout the years to become consistently successful. So I just want to continue to develop those skills and continue to get better. And for me, it's high opportunity hunts. And so every year, along with my, chasing big high country mule deer, and those can be high opportunity hunts too. If you go in high population areas, or even like a rut hunt for mule deer can be a high opportunity hunt, if you're in a good population of mule deer. But just planning some of these high population, these high opportunity hunts really help with my game. And then I don't mind going on a low opportunity hunt. Like I'm really hoping, like this year, I've been putting in for sheep tags all across the United States my entire life. I've never drawn one. I would love to get that opportunity. I can start putting in for mountain goat again this year. I've done my 7-year, 8-year wait, whatever it is. So I can start applying for mountain goat in Montana again. Also applying for Montana moose, which would be great. So these are going to be lower opportunity hunts. And I don't mind mixing these in or having this extreme challenge, because I do mix the high opportunity hunts in. So yeah, can you imagine? It'd be so fun to draw a sheep tag and get to try to chase one with my bow and arrow. It'd be a dream. And one of these years, I'll get one. One of these years, they'll pull my lucky number, and I'll get to go hunt one, and I'll get to experience it. But really, what drives me, I think the funnest stuff. I've traveled all over and hunted, and I really love to travel and hunt these different species. But really, the coolest stuff going is mule deer and elk, across the West. It is the coolest hunts going, and I just want to continue to do those hunts. And so looking at this upcoming season and trying to plan out my hunts, is going to be a big part of it. I mean, the other thing is time on my side. I take on so much through Barney construction and through the outdoor industry, trying to run a couple podcasts, and I just got so much going, and I need to start to cut that back a little bit, or just develop it to make sure that I'm getting my time in the field. Man, we get one chance at life, and these years are flying by, and you just never going to get to the end and think that I wish I would have worked more. I wish I would have done more adventures, and so I really need to work hard to make sure that I'm not taking too much on Barney construction. And again, that's saying no to good clients or good projects or good houses, and not being greedy, not chasing the buck, chasing adventure and a fulfilling life and time with my family. There was a day and time where money was the most important thing, and you do need money to survive. And not that I have a bunch of excess or anything, but I do have a buffer where I'm fine and taken care of. And so, I need to not chase work so hard and make sure that I develop leadership in my business. I have a partner that I can count on to handle things while I'm gone, but I need to make sure that I do my part leading up to that. I need to make sure that I do my part informing clients of how we're going to run things. And I've got great junior leadership through my company. I've got great employees that have worked for me for a bunch of years that are hardworking guys, and so I thought for a while, I feel like I'm the best carpenter on site, and I'm the best at handling clients, and I'm the best. I've developed all these skills within Barney Construction that I feel like I'm the best, but I can't do everything. And so there, in turn, I have to train guys to be able to do the same thing as me or better. And now I think one of my top construction guys, he may be better at heights than I am. He may be better at some of this construction work than I am. I've really developed him to be really good at what he does. And he's been able to replace me on the job site a lot. Not that I'm not on the job site or don't have to work my hours, but a lot of what I do now, I still have my nail bags on each and every day, and getting work done on the job site. And especially lately, as we've been shorthanded, or I just have so many projects going, I've counted on, being there and getting things done. And so, But a lot of my job is communication with clients. It's organizing and orchestrating decisions. It's making sure that we have the things we need to be able to move forward. It's, there's so much of that work that has to go into it at the managing of a job site that I've got to trust these other guys. And I can't be at all 3 job sites at once. I can check in. I can hold people accountable for the work that they're doing and the work they're getting done. But I can't be on every job site all day, every day. And so, I've got to continue to develop leadership in my company to be able to handle things while I'm gone and not have to worry about them. Know that it's in good hands and it's taken care of, and make everybody aware that I'm leaving or I'm going to be gone, and taking care of my stuff beforehand. So there's just ways that I can just be better in every facet of my life, and that goes for business, that goes for family, that goes for my hunting, my passion, what I truly love. So it's like there's so many things here. So I'm just going to work to continue to make myself better and not stress, really try to enjoy life, try to laugh, and really embrace the adventure and the things I get to go do and the lifestyle I get to live. And so, really it's just like looking at these things, because time is so important to being successful. And last year I did not have as much time as I had the year before. The year before I had an immense amount of time, and I want to get back to that. So if that means taking less work, that's fine. I can do that. I can make less money. That's fine. But it's also developing, the leadership and the employees in my company to be able to handle things while I'm gone, so I can leave and continue to have work for those guys and not have a bunch of added stress to my plate. So I need to be good about saying no, or letting clients know when I can realistically start their projects, not taking on too much. And also, if I get spread too thin, I can't do my best work on these projects, and my guys can't either, and I can't be doing them in such a, the timely manner that I want to. So I just need to make sure that I'm not taking on too much, and that I'm creating time for what I love to do. Man, living life's what it's all about, and we get one chance at this thing, and just trying to build the best life I can for me and my family, also trying to build a good life for my employees and looking out for them. And yeah, I mean, it's improvement, but it's also being happy where I am, and so fortunate for this life that I built, and life I get to live, and just trying to enjoy it and live it to the fullest. And so those are, that's pretty much my New Year's resolution: live life to the fullest, a bunch of adventure, push my limits, improve in my skill sets, and really, be happy with myself and where I'm at. Don't feel guilty. So like, just be happy, right? Like, that's it. Just be happy in life and keep working towards that. And we all have to work hard in life. We have responsibilities we need to take care of, and we need to embrace those and be at our best for those as well. But also be at our best for our passion, for what we love to do, and these big adventure hunts, and planning these for the season, and really going on these hunts makes us a better person. These are the reasons why we want to improve, and it gives us a reason, it gives us something to work towards, and something to look forward to. And so I'm definitely going to be doing that, and planning a bunch of adventures for the next year, and cutting these legs loose, and seeing if I can arrow some trophy critters. So, all right, guys, that's a wrap. Again, thanks to our new sponsor, Forever Barnwood. New reclaims old. Just an absolute awesome company. Had an awesome discussion with the owner that lasted over an hour, talking about his products and his business that he's built. He's a veteran, just a great guy. And so I'm going to support this company, not only through the podcast, but through Barney Construction. And I'm really thinking in my new house, this is going to be amazing to be able to use a lot of this reclaimed. It just looks so good in Western style houses. So if you're in the market, you can order direct. Check them out at their website at Forever Barnwood. I also want to thank Cutter Stabilizers. Earl Stroll just done an amazing job with that company, and these stabilizers, they really take your shooting to another level. To add a sidebar, to go with longer stabilizers, to add and subtract weight off the front and back, to really fine-tune your shooting setup to find perfect balance and perfect shot. It's done wonders for my shooting game. I've been using Earl stabilizers for the last few seasons at least, and I've been using a sidebar and stabilizers for probably the last 10 years or so. It's really made a huge difference in my shooting game. So if you're in the market, make sure to check out Cutter Stabilizers. And man, thanks to you guys. This podcast is in its 7th year. I can't believe I just started this in my basement. In fact, I'm down in the same basement where I started this now. But I've learned so much, and that's another part of what I want to do in the next year too, is improve this podcast. Just improvement in the conversations, improvement in the guests, improvement in the information and the content. I just want to grow this to another level. I want to deliver to you guys that support me each and every week. And so I've really been working hard to prep prior to the podcast and kind of work out my thoughts or what I think would be interesting or most pertinent for you guys. And then on the podcast, trying to be at my best. And then, through 7 years, you learn to listen more. And my job as a podcast host is to bring the best out of my guests. And so, trying not to hog the mic or jump in. And you guys have heard me talk enough in 300 episodes or whatever. So really just trying to bring you the best interviews I can. But also, I want it to be authentic and interactive. I want to be able to add points to what somebody's saying. So I, just... It's like everything in life. I talked about my construction company and bow hunting and family. The one thing I didn't talk about was podcasts and outdoor opportunities. I'm so fortunate to be able to have a job in the outdoor industry, to be able to run this podcast, to be able to write, to be able to film. It's just absolutely amazing, and I can't take that opportunity lightly. I've been pulling for that my entire life. And, to have a job in the outdoor industry, to get paid to hunt, so I've been working towards this my entire life, and I need to take this opportunity as serious as I can and just bring you guys the absolute best content, best information, best photography, just the be at my absolute best. And so I'm working hard to do that as well. And I want to grow this podcast again this year. And it just comes down to me putting myself out there, asking the right guests to be on the podcast, preparing for these podcasts, and just bringing you guys the absolute best content I can. Be good on my solo podcasts, make sure that I have a point that I'm trying to bring across, that I have a theme. So yeah, just working on that as well, like everything in life, working on that, and working on being as happy as I can for this next year. But thanks you guys to all the support. We're in our 7th year of the podcast. You guys keep downloading, keep listening to these, whether it's with a guest or solo, and I just can't tell you how much I appreciate it. The shares on social media really help out. The ratings and reviews on iTunes and other podcast platforms really help out. And just spreading the word. If you hear a podcast that you really like, reach out to the guests and tell them you liked them on the podcast, or share the podcast with your buddies. Just share the word of the podcast so we can build this great community. I'm in it to see your guys' success as much as I am my own. And nothing makes me happier than having you guys share a successful story that, hey, patience kills the buck. Look at this buck I killed. And, it's the moves I made and things I heard from your podcast that I put into play on this stock that worked out. Man, and not, I just play a very small portion or very small part in somebody's success, but it makes me extremely happy to see that and see you guys, making these changes in your life and making a better, more enjoyable life for yourselves. So, man, I just really appreciate the support. With that, let's wrap this thing up, and I'll check in with you guys next week.